But let's get into our final battle, our main events of the afternoon. The first team leader being the Tapu Bullies, led by Zekrom365, playing for the Doctors Without Borders, currently in 6th place at 3-2. But don't let that record fool you. This is a very, very strong team here. As you can see by that Arcanine having 11 knockouts and only 4 faints. This Arcanine just being a fantastic member of this team, and the Ferrothorn being there to be annoying at 0-3. The Yuyumons of this team with that Nidoking at 6-5, and the Hawlucha only at 1-1, but Hawlucha is another really big threat of this team. The Argumons of this team with the Porygon Z, unfortunately at 0-1, not being able to get any knockouts yet, but doesn't mean it's not a good mon. This Pokemon having so much potential here. The Incineroar is at 1-2, and the newly traded Reuniclus hasn't shown up yet, but we will see what happens. The Enumon of this team being the Starmie at 0-1, the Lurantis at 1-1, and the Scyther at 0-1. The Piyumon of this team being the Bully, the Comfey, unfortunately not getting as many knockouts as it should, but it will. I know that for a fact. It will have his time. The Pikachu is also at 3-2. The Cofagrigus and the Cherrim not showing up yet. Their opponent and the final team leader of this main event battle is going to be me, the Frosty Vulpix, led by me, Vulpix Aura, playing for the Friends of Animals charity, currently in 2nd place at 4-1. The Oyumon of this team with the Meowscarada at 8-2 and the Alola Ninetales at 6-2. The Yuyumons of this team being the Hisuian Zoroark at 1-1. Unfortunately, not able to do too much, which makes me sad. I love Zoroark. But the Haxorus at 7-3 after a strong showing last week. The Argumons of this team being the Florges at 1-0, the Nail Indeedee at 0-2, and the Cantonian Ninetales, newly traded from the trade cancel, at 0-0, having not shown up yet. The Enumons of this team being the Umbreon at 0-1, the Sceptile at 0-0, and the Daytime Lycanroc form being at 2-3. With the Piyumons of this team being the Malamar at 0-1, Centiskorch at 1-0, Molga not having any knockouts or faints, but he has shown up and done a little bit of work, and the Lantern at 3-2. I mean, do you not see my team logo? It's my baby. I mean, my name is Vulpix Aura, like my baby. Anyway, let's see the starting lineups of these two teams. The Tapu Bullies bring in that Pikachu, which is hiding behind the Doggo, the Hisuian Arcanine. You see the Comfey here as well. The Ferrothorn, the Hawlucha making another appearance with the Reuniclus showing up for the first time from the Tapu Bullies. The Frosty Vulpix bringing the Alolan Ninetales, bringing the Indeedee, the Sceptile showing up for the first time as well. You see the Lycanroc Day form, the Centiskorch coming back, and the Lantern coming back. Without wasting any more time, let's hop into this main event battle and see what each team leads up with. The Tapu Bullies leading with the Hawlucha, with the Frosty Vulpix leading with the Lycanroc. The Hawlucha immediately switches into the Ferrothorn with the Lycanroc, going for a Psychic Fangs. Does get the crit, but doesn't do too much damage, and the Rocky Helmet and Iron Barbs are going to do some chip damage to this Doggo. Immediate switch from the Doggo into the Psychic Surge Indeedee, with a Toxic then connecting onto the Indeedee. Mystical Fire comes through, but doesn't take down the Ferrothorn, with a Leaf Seed then being set up, but it might be too late at this point. Toxic, though, does start to chip down at this Indeedee, with the switch into the Sceptile. Psychic Seed boosting its special defenses on the Psychic Train, with the Gyro Ball nearly knocking out the Sceptile, though, right away, but the outspeeding Earthquake takes down the Ferrothorn. Hawlucha then coming in, but it's running its own Psychic Seed, the two Unburdened Pokemon. Hawlucha Swords Dancing being faster than the Sceptile, but the Acrobatics is able to nearly take down this Hawlucha. The Acrobatics in return from the Hawlucha takes down the Sceptile, though. The Frosty Pupper Lycanroc comes back, goes for the Accelerock, and it takes down the Hawlucha. Since the Hawlucha is flying and is not affected by Psychic Terrain, so it is able to take down from priority. Reuniclus then comes in with the Centiskorch, replacing it, and the Expanding Force nearly taking down the Centiskorch, but of course being brought back to above half by the Citrus Berry. And the Crunch doing a lot of damage to this Reuniclus, and the Future Sight then being set up. Reuniclus switches out into that Comfey, but the Fire Lash is able to connect. It's going to drop the defenses of this Comfey as well. The Draining Kiss, though, doing very little damage to the Centiskorch. And another Fire Lash is able to take down the Comfey. The Future Sight is going to land this turn, and it does take down the Centiskorch. The Pikachu then comes in, Lord of Ketchup. I love it, with the Indeedee then coming in to set up the Psychic Terrain again. We switch from the Pikachu into the Reuniclus to eat a crit Expanding Force. It does about 38% of its damage. A lot of damage considering a resisted hit. A Shadow Ball then coming in, doing even more damage, but not quite knocking it down, with the Calm Mind then being set up from the Reuniclus. But is it enough to survive another Shadow Ball? It survives on just 1 HP, with a Future Sight then being set up from the Reuniclus. Reuniclus switches out into the Arcanine, with an Expanding Force doing so much damage but not quite taking down the Doggo. The Indeedee really low HP by now. The immediate switch back into the Reuniclus, with the Expanding Force doing 27% but not knocking out. The toxic damage is going to be... no. The Future Sight is going to be enough to knock down the Indeedee. Lycanroc then comes back in. The Swords Dance being set up from the Lycanroc, though. But the Expanding Force comes through and takes down the Lycanroc. Alola Ninetales then comes in to replace the fallen Lycanroc. The Reuniclus switching into the Hisuian Arcanine, with the Ninetales setting up the Aurora Veil. And the Hidden Power, super effective Hidden Power coming through and taking down this Arcanine. The Pikachu then comes in. Goes for the Fake Out. Of course it does land because there's no more Psychic Terrain up on the field anymore. Ninetales, though, does outspeed and is able to take down the Pikachu with just 1 Blizzard, leaving just this Reuniclus left. Reuniclus, of course, comes in at over half HP because of the Regenerator ability. The Blizzard comes through, and then Calm Mind starts getting set up with 2 special attackers left with the Frosty Vulpix. We will see how this works. A Moonblast coming through, not quite taking down the Reuniclus again. Another Calm Mind being set up. The Reuniclus now at 2 times its special attack and special defense. The switch from the Ninetales into the Fish, with another Calm Mind being set up by the Reuniclus. Lantern going for the Discharge, doing a little bit of chip damage, but not too much, with a Future Sight then being set up from the Reuniclus. The Aurora Veil now wearing off, another Discharge coming through. It does get the Paralysis, though, with the Expanding Force not quite taking down the Fish, but doing so much damage here. The Discharge comes through, and the crit connects and takes down the chunky Reuniclus. That little bit of RNG letting the Frosty Vulpix win the game against the Tapu Bullies. But what a close battle that was.